Hey guys, Ronnie here from Earlybird Farm SC, and today I'm gonna show you around the farm and some projects that we got going on. So we'll be back in a second. All right, so I hadn't done one of these in a while. I'm gonna try to start doing these weekly or at least monthly, but I want to show you some things that we got going on. If you've been following along, you've seen the muscadine and the blackberries that were recently planted. We still have to put our wire up on those, and we still have to put mulch around the blackberries. So speaking of mulch and compost, let me show you the compost pile. So this is my finished compost right here. As you can see, if you dig in here, it's been mostly turned to dirt. Still has some big chunks in it. Real nice looking. And that right there is probably 10 foot across, maybe 8 foot width, 10 foot depth, maybe 3 or 4 foot high. This is a pile that we worked on. We're going to get rid of this hog wire and landscape fabric. This pile right here has already cooled off and it's finished working. I need to add this to the other. You can see there's worms all in here, and this looks good. It's got a really good smell to it. So that needs to go to this pile. And all this is gonna make sense in a minute while I'm telling you this. This is the next pile. So I do these in succession. So I fill this up. Once this gets full, up to the top, I move to the next one. These are geotextile bins that you buy off Amazon. I like these. They're durable. The only downside is they kind of don't hold their shape good. As you can see, it's kind of not round. If you pack it in there, you can do that. I plan to do a video on how I make my compost. You can see I got biochar in there. So this pile is still hot. It's still working off. And I do a lazy man compost. I don't really turn it much. I just build layers in there and I let it sit there. And that's kind of what this has done. And you can see this is kind of falling over because it don't hold its shape. So we went from here to here, and this is a pile that I'm currently working on. So and this is my charcoal here. You can see down in there. Like I said, I plan to do a whole video on all of that. And this is my pile of leaves. This was about 3 truckloads, pretty good sized truckloads from a contractor friend of mine. And you can see it's already breaking down into leaf mold. This is 100% leaves right here. He brought me that two falls ago, and he brought me this past fall. So this will take up place of this. So I use leaves as my carbon source in my compost. And I also use rotted wood chips. So I've had this pile of wood chips for about 3 seasons now. And I got this last fall. So with all this being said, let me get back and give you a bigger view of this. So here's everything: compost pile. There's my bins. There's my material that I use to make the compost with, along with some other items, my nitrogen component. But I'm wanting to move all of this. This is over here behind my house over to the right. And I want to build me a building here to put my tractor in and lawnmower and other stuff like that. And I've been wanting to move my compost pile over here. As you remember, here's the tree line, pecan trees and chestnut trees. And I cleared this space out back when I had my brother's excavator to build 3 compost bins. So I'm gonna set poles and make a 5-foot bin, a 5-foot bin, and a 5-foot bin. So 3 of them. And then on the far right, this is where I'll pile my finished compost at on the ground. And I'll put my piles of wood chips and leaves over here. And then I'll start in the first bin and then move it to the second bin and then to the third bin. We can leave the finished compost in the third bin. It don't really matter. But that's kind of my idea. So today, I had this maple tree. In order to get that built, I had to get this maple tree out of the way. This was on back here on the property, and I cleared this with my brother's excavator. And I wanted to save this portion of it to take it to a sawmill to get cut up, but I may have let it sit too long. This thing got really dry, so I don't really think it's no good anymore. When I first cut this, it had a really pretty grain on it. So that's one plan, is to get these trees out of the way, move my compost and stuff over here, and then I can get the building pad built. And I'm probably just gonna put a tube building right there. I've went back and forth on different ideas of building a pole barn. I've got some telephone poles dropped off, and they're some of them's pretty good shape, some of them's not so good shape. So I've decided to use the ones that are not in good shape to build my compost bins right here for the poles for it. And then I'm gonna use 4 of them for a deer stand in the back for the legs, and that'll probably be it for those. And I got some pine trees over at my cousin's house where I've been working on sawing up some slabs, some 2x6 slabs, 2x6 dimensional boards that we'll use to make the framing for this compost bin. And I'll probably leave like an inch gap between each board so there's some airflow. And I'll probably stain those boards with some kind of a treatment. I know some people don't like that, but fact is, you got to treat the boards or they'll rot away. So once I get the building built, I can move all this junk up here around these pine trees and the dog pen, and put it on the back side of it and hide it. And around those pine trees, I want to plant some azaleas there. I also have collected these rafters here that I plan to build a workshop out of one day. So this will be one portion, one side of it. These are very high pitch rafters. These are 12 on 12, and these are scissor rafters. So I also have these cedar 4x4 poles here that I plan on cutting up into about 5-foot sections and putting them over there beside my spigot in the ground, about 2 foot each. And then what I'll do is get some cedar boards to go across it, and I'll mount a hose reel on it. This is the area where I'm talking about putting the hose reel. And what I want to do is scrape this dirt back right here and put me some timbers here and timbers here, just far enough to catch the 2 poles. And then I'll put some flagstone down, fill in with pea stone gravel, and that way when water drips, it won't get nasty there and there won't be any grass there, and it'll look really cool. Here's my area where I keep all my trees at. So I still got some stuff that needs to be planted. I got some, these are American chestnut. Here's 2 pawpaw trees. This is one that I planted from seed. And if you remember this one right here, that's the one that I pulled up from West Virginia. So it's doing good. Now right here, those are mulberry trees that I'm trying to get to root. I got those from the mulberry tree that I actually had out there in my vineyard. It got to growing so wild, and I got aggravated with it. I decided to pull it up. And that's a butterfly bush, snowball bush, those big tall things. Can you believe it? Those are the blueberries that I got from my Plants for Everything sale. Look how much they've grown. And there's some blackberries over here. Those are strawberries. These are blackberries that I'm trying to root. Some of them have worked and some of them have not. Got some sedum. Those are still a few of the chestnut trees that I rooted. That I grew from seed that I've not planted yet. And I got this fig from Matt at Dean Family Acres over the weekend. And that's a little lemon tree. You can see I got some of my thornless blackberries around the outside edge. And rosemary right there. But this area here, I really want to pull all of this up. And my idea for this is, if I do ever get chickens and some rabbits, this is probably the area I'll put them in. Now for this front area of the house here, I think I've almost decided I'm gonna plant these in in blueberries. So I got a lot of work to do on this to get this prepared for it. I need a tiller for the tractor, and I need a bedder to raise the soil up. And then, of course, I got to get those trees up down there at the end. I got to dig those. There's actually three trees there. So 2 pin oak and then 1 persimmon on the right. Kind of excited about this area. Down this wood line, I'm gonna start planting these little pockets of these trees here and see how they do. And then I'm gonna come back and fill in on the edge with some milkweed for the monarch butterfly. So let's show you what we got planted right here. This is a redbud tree. It was growing voluntarily in my chestnut trees up there in the tree lot up there. So I planted it right here beside the bluebird box. And then also I planted one of our ball cypress trees. Look how good it's doing. Got some pretty golden green foliage there. And right here is the tree that I was trying to graft, the persimmon tree. And you can see those failed bark grafts there. Didn't take. Again, we'll still continue to work on that. And here is a persimmon tree that was left behind. I didn't mess with it. I pruned it a couple times. So I don't know if those are flowers are going to be persimmons. And then right here I planted a snowball bush, and you can see it starting to come up. These have big huge white balls. They'll be planted to the back side of my bird box there. I'll probably plant the milkweed around the bird box here. These are bird boxes that I made. I plan to get a video on these one day. I don't have anything in this particular one. Let's see, might be some wasp in here. But they do use this. They tend to get in this box later in the springtime for some reason. I do have some in the lower bluebird box. This little wire thing here to go around in case anything gets past my guard here. They can't get across them sharp teeth right there. And there's the other one that's got bluebirds in it. It's late in the evening. I don't want to go down there and mess with it because there's a good possibility the mama bird's in the box. You got these Shasta daisies right here along this edge, and that's a Rosa Sharon that I planted. It's going to be chiffon blue. And these are azaleas. These are encore azaleas right there. And some hosta. And I think that's Coriolis. And look how big the rhododendrons have gotten. And back in this hole, I stuck 3 hydrangeas. There's another one. Little birds up there in the corner, I always leave them up there. They're about ready to fly the nest. The Abelia's looking good. Got some hosta right here. Some dianthus. Black Eye Susans that are coming out. Some little Henry right here in this spot right here. And then that spot right there. And there's actually one Stella, right there. Deoro, daylilies, fringe bush. This is my butterfly bush. It was doing so good, and then we had a hurricane come through here, a tropical storm, or a tropical depression rather, and it blew this thing over and uprooted it. And it was starting to come back out, and then we got a late frost and it killed it. And these are spider warts. These are native to South Carolina, but they can be not invasive, but they're very aggressive, I'd say. So we got sedum, dianthuses, little Henry, in a pattern like that. And in the back corner back there, I got some phlox, which will get tall. And then I got some more phlox. So I really like this bed. I just need to put more pine needles in it. So those little Henrys will form a hedgerow there. I'm afraid they're gonna crowd out that stuff though. Turn to the left there, you have our orchard. We got 20 trees out here, pear trees, apple trees, peach trees, plum trees, persimmon, Asian persimmon, nectarine. Our plum tree got hit by the frost, but it looks like it's trying to come back out, so I don't know if it will or not. We also have 3 pawpaw trees, 1 that I raised from seed and 2 that I dug up from a friend's house up the road and moved them. So I'm probably gonna end up digging those up. This is one of them because it's out of line and it drives me crazy. Not really doing that good anyway. The 2 that I dug up keep dying back each year and coming back from the root. But the one that I planted from seed seems to be doing pretty good. I also have 2 fig bushes, and then I got that new one to plant. And both years we've gotten a late frost, and it's killed the previous season's growth, which, if you know, this is what the first crop comes on. And then anything that has a regrowth, you get a second crop later in the season. So we'll get a late crop from that, but we won't get a first crop from what grew last year. These will eventually die back. But again, we've had a late frost. We actually had 2 late frosts that killed both of these 2 years in a row. So this is a brown turkey fig. And then over there, I got a black mission fig. And then I have comfrey spread out among a lot of these trees here that I'll cut and sprinkle around or using a compost pile. This apple tree right here, I'm afraid the frost got it too. This is the only one that I lost. This is a tree that I ordered from Clemson Extension. It still looks alive down there. It's just up high. It don't look up here. It looks dead. So if you keep going forward, you have our trellises that we put up where we got our muscadines planted. And we had all this graded, so we seeded grass in here. So we had to go back and get this out. But these things are finally broke dormancy. As you can see, they're starting to sprout here. Both of these are cowart. See, that's got some leaves on it. And then we have Summit. This is the only one. Well, it's starting to come out of dormancy too. This is Summit. And then that right there is a Terra. You go up the hill another row, and we have blackberries that we planted. This was our very last video we did. We got 5 Washita and we got 5 Ponca. I'm planning to start working on putting some my compost around these and then mulch on top to help with the weeds there. I need to get some paper down too if I can. I'm gonna get back to working on this tree up here. Still gotta eat supper today. It's my early week, so I get a little bit of time in the afternoon to do a few projects when it's not raining. All right, guys, I think we're good to go on this video. We'll see you next time. Thanks for checking out Earlybird Farm. If you enjoyed this video, we'd love to have you subscribe if you're not a subscriber yet. So hit that little button that's about to pop up. Also, there's going to be a video here and here that's going to pop up. Hit one of those. I think it'll be something that you'll enjoy. We'll see you next time on Earlybird Farms SC, where the SC stands for South Carolina.